Let me ask you this. Have you seen the recent A&E Macho Man documentary?
I did. I was under a couple White Claws, and I loved every second. Because you know what I like. You know what I love to do Sunday nights. WWE hasn't really been able to have this like since they've been doing like the Stone Cold, the Macho Man, and recently the Booker T. To
Yeah.
me, there's a lot more special feel to that. Even the Lost Treasures stuff they do, a lot more special feel to things than some of the kind of B show pay-per-views, right? I've been really excited, and the Roddy Piper too. Sorry, the Roddy Piper was to me was awesome, but the Macho Man was a little different. They went a little hard on Macho.
Yeah.
Hey,
They had an interesting angle because it's funny because they got to a lot of the Elizabeth stuff and they almost act like they're not going to say anything. They sort of put it out there. They say some people thought he was a little bit controlling, but maybe that was just the character. I don't know. And then they sort of brush over it.
He would sort of give her a look sometimes that's like, you better, or there was an inherent threat to the relationship of Savage and Elizabeth. Don't get me wrong, I assume that part was him hamming up the character, but it's still uncomfortable to see now.
And then they get into the Gorgeous George stuff, and then they go hard. Like they foreshadow with Elizabeth, and they say, it could be there, maybe it's not, I don't know. And
I heard about Randy doing things to Liz through the grapevine. I had heard that she had to go to Hulk Hogan's house to hide from him with his wife. I'd heard about her eating in closets. I'd heard about all this stuff. I didn't believe it because he was so good to me.
Then they sort of try to almost confirm it and double down and make it so much worse with the Gorgeous George stuff, where she's going like he had a camera hidden in my house and stuff like this.
Right?
Yeah.
I never really at that time. I was never like at that time in Macho's career. I was not really watching any WCW or anything like that. Right? I was always a WWF guy at that point. Kind of made my choice at that point. But when you see that stuff, and it's weird that they did it the way they did. They kind of they waited to that point, and then they really made him look really bad. And even in Dark Side of the Ring, I don't think they touched on stuff like that. And so it just kind of makes you think, why? What was maybe it was a little overdone to make him, which he really shouldn't, because the guy is iconic in wrestling, and there's a certain thing where he maybe, I think there's a lot of wrestlers that have done a lot of stuff that probably was not very good, but to frame it like that, I didn't think was maybe tasteful as it could have been. I don't know.
No, I didn't think it was very tasteful at all, and I thought, I don't know, I don't know. Like, I had never heard any of that Gorgeous George stuff. I knew that he owned the Gorgeous George gimmick.
When they broke up, she went from Gorgeous George back to Stephanie. Done. Randy had it. Upon delusion of our relationship would be a termination of every kind of contract. He knew what he was doing.
Do you know how he owns the Gorgeous George gimmick? Do you know the story behind that?
No.
There's a lot of, it's a little bit of one internet rumor sort of seems to confirm another. So I don't know for sure, but the rumor that I had always heard was that Randy Savage had used that Pomp and Circumstance theme song. You know his theme song?
Yes.
Like the graduation song?
Yes. Well, yeah.
The original person that had always used it was Gorgeous George. Gorgeous George had came out to that song in the past. That's right. And when Randy Savage died, he said, please don't play. My last request is not to play that at my funeral, because I always felt bad that I had stolen it from Gorgeous George. When he was in WCW, apparently he had purchased the rights to the Gorgeous George gimmick, maybe to sort of make himself feel better about having used that without any permission. So he purchased it off of, I guess, Gorgeous George's, George Wagner's widow. And what he had planned on doing was have Lanny Poffo, his brother, who he had gotten a contract.
Leaping Lanny.
Yeah, Leaping Lanny, who is a Calgary resident, born in Calgary. I don't think he was raised in Calgary, but he was born in Calgary. But he had purchased the rights for that so that Lanny could dye his hair blonde and come out on WCW and do the Gorgeous George gimmick. instead, they benched Lanny Poffo. They paid him out. I guess Randy Savage's contract completely covered the cost of Lanny Poffo's contract because of his Slim Jim deal. And they included
Snap into one.
There you go. There you go. So they included him.
Snap into Slim Jim.
They benched Lanny Poffo, and he used the name Gorgeous George with this girl that he was seeing, and kept the music for himself. And there we go. The rest is history.
Yeah. I mean, it was very telling, like all that stuff. Like it's something that really I don't think has been talked about lots, right? It was pretty revealing, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's why you watch, right? And that's why these things have been really, really good.
Yeah.
Even the Roddy Piper 2 was really good. It's just one of these things. I don't know why. In my opinion, I don't care what kind of stuff that the WWE has done. I just feel like he's always been, the Macho Man's always been kind of destined to, because WWE is heavily into producing these A&E things, right? And so just feels like for whatever reason, there's always going to be hurt feelings for him not just taking it on the chin and going to commentary and whatever other rumors are out there. Just feels like he's destined to, they'll do a little bit of good for him and then they'll bury him, and then they'll do a little bit of good for him and then they'll bury him. It's a shame for a guy who had such a great career.
Yes, it's true. They're sort of holding a grudge even beyond the grave, and you're right. They do enough to say, oh no, we're the good guys, but then they fucking bury him a little bit, and then no, we're cool with him, and then they bury him a little bit more. It's a shame.